Hello. Happy Sunday to everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful morning and then afternoon, wherever you are. It's 1 o'clock here, so we're in the afternoon. But I don't normally stream on Sundays, but yesterday our live stream went a little bit longer. We didn't do just from 1 until 3. We actually went a little past. So, and then of course Uber came on, and I wasn't going to go at the same time that she was because I just love my Uber. Y'all know that. As you saw, I had my Goober Nation t-shirt on. And today I have on my, if you don't know who these people are, you got to watch the show. This is Patsy Stone from Absolutely Fabulous, and you can't quite see it. Can't lift it up enough. Anyway, it says, "Don't question me," which is one of her favorite things to say, "Don't question me." And if you like British sitcoms, it's not really a sitcom, it's just a comedy. It's hilarious. I watched it in the 90s when it was on Comedy Central, and it's still one of my favorite shows. And they came out with a movie. The movie kind of didn't do great. It wasn't as well written as the episodes in the show were, but I recommend, if I forget which streaming service has Absolutely Fabulous on it, but watch all the seasons if you like British comedy. I'm gonna pop the chat out. And Steve gave me a holler and said that for some reason my the time when it says that I'm going to start, something's off in YouTube. I made sure that I said it right and everything. So I don't know why it's given a different time saying I'm going to start. The show is called Absolutely Fabulous. Yeah, AbFab. Love it. I used to play the theme song that's on the show. That's Wheels on Fire, but the Pet Shop Boys did a song called Absolutely Fabulous, and it's kind of techno, but it also has clips, little audio clips of things that they say, and it's hilarious. If you love the show, if you like British stuff, watch the show, but listen to the Pet Shop Boys song Absolutely Fabulous. You get a kick out of it. Once you start watching the show, you'll get why it's so funny. But I just wanted to say hello to everybody. Welcome. I see Steve's here. We have somebody new. Sobi Ahmed, hello. Let's see. Hi, Cutie. Hello, darling. And Steph, hello. Plants Tom, hi. Scottish Sarah, hi, darling. How are you? Somebody had asked me yesterday, and I tell you what, I ought to have my butt kicked. This was anniversary gift. Nice white golden diamond watch, and I wore it in the shower. Now it's got water in it, and he's gonna kick my butt. But Kelly Huff, I'm so glad to see you in here, and welcome everybody. And if you'll share the stream, I appreciate it, because obviously we know that YouTube's having some problems getting the notifications out. In fact, I've been watching a stream and actually got a notification that the stream was starting, and I'm like, what's going on, at like hours after a stream had been going on. So we know there's a delay. We know that there's some problems, and everybody asked yesterday to do it today. So I'd like to make sure that everybody knows that we're on and we're starting. And as always, when we talk about mental health, you know, I am a psychologist, and I do not diagnose anyone online. I'm not anyone's therapist online. Nobody here is paying me. But what I can do, my goal here is to give support, education, and direction if you're having a problem. That way, I think sometimes we get a little lost, and we need help, you know, figuring out what's going on and where to go for help. And sometimes we need just somebody to listen and give us support, and that's what this is all about. Hi, Beck. Okay, backside boob, you can get the hell out of here. You are, and a psychologist. Yeah, okay. You're gone, baby. You're gone. Appreciate it, y'all. I guess it's going to be another troll day. I know that, and I think the reason, I know the reason that we're having so many trolls is because I've been very supportive of, you know, Beck and the different people in the community. I have friends from all over the place, and I have friends that don't like each other. I have friends that do like each other. We're all adults. We should be able to get along. But there are some people that are mad that I'm being supportive of someone that they don't like. And that's okay. You know, we all different strokes for different folks. But so that's why yesterday we had trolls, and today, I guess, they have nothing better to do. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you for all my mods for my mods for being here. You all, you got my heart. You know that. I appreciate you. We'll leave the discussion open. Anyone that has questions, hi, precious so-and-so. Anyone, River Queen, please address this billing. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the trolls yesterday were just ridiculous. I find that when people spend their time doing things to make others hurt or miserable, they're either bored or they're unhappy themselves. You know, I'm really tired. Hurt people. We've heard that repeated I don't know how many times. Everybody and their brother seems to be saying that. And it's true to an extent, but sometimes just people are mean because they want to be mean. You know, some people like to find a target and pick on them. And that's it. While it infuriates me, I always root for the underdog. I'm always, you know, if someone's in a position where they're being bullied or they're being hurt, their feelings are being hurt, I tend to gravitate towards them and try to help. And one of my personal problems is I can't fix people. I can't fix everybody. I can't make everything all better. So I have to understand that what my limitations are. But yeah, it's, you know, it makes it a little hard. But if you're bored, go color a pretty picture. Amen. You know, find something positive to do. My mother, for all the stuff she taught me, she used to say, when we were getting into trouble or something, she'd say, go do something constructive instead of destructive. And I stick with that. If you're bored, do something positive. And, you know, don't go troll people and be ugly. That just says you're not a very nice person. So, or you're not being very nice, and it reflects on the person who's being mean, not the victim. So, soap opera queens needing a fix. Yeah, the soap operas are off today, so I guess YouTube is where everybody's gravitating to. And honestly, if you do positive things, if you are making things and you're bringing things into your life that, you know, bring you joy and happiness, you don't have time for the negativity. I always say push the toxic away. Get the toxic people out of your life. Don't address them. Delete, remove, block, do whatever you have to do. But, you know, get away from it, because eventually it wears you down. And we've all seen that. I mean, I've been through it. I think about everybody who's a creator has been through it one way or another. And you learn after a while, you get a little thicker skin, but you learn just ignore it. Get away from it. Get them out of your life. They're not important. You know, the important people are the ones who love you and who are your friends and who support you and want to see you do well. So that's my little thing. Let me see. Oh, what happened? Did you miss Steph? Oh, River Queen, you are welcome here. I'm sorry, I think that was an oops. Steph said she's got trigger finger. And honestly, yesterday, talking about you know, people, I try real hard to not get upset, and you know, and I've lost my temper once, and we know I regret that. I wish I could do that differently, go back. But my daughter called from Mexico, and, you know, my daughter's my heart. And, you know, and she knew I was live streaming. And I showed her, and she showed where she was on the beach. And, you know, they were taking a day to go to the beach. And she's down there with, she's doing a lot of really positive things, charitable things. And the trolls coming in were saying the grossest stuff about my child. Just nasty. And anybody who could type that, I feel sorry for them, that their mind goes to that place, that they felt necessary to say such things about my daughter. You know, my daughter's a beautiful girl who's living a good life and who's doing good things for the world. And for somebody to come in and say such horrible things, you know what? That just shows what kind of people they are. You know, it's their sin, not mine. And you need bed, but you can't sleep. I'm sorry, darling. You've been through a lot, Beck. You really have in the last week. Hi, River Queen. Hey, darling. This is a very safe place. As you can see, it's my mods are on the ball. They're quick. So sometimes people get knocked out by accident. We miss or we misunderstand something, but we'll bring it back if it's an oops. We're always happy to do that. And everyone is welcome here. And if anyone wants to come on panel and share a story, if you're not connected to me on Twitter, it's Mama Beth's World and then the number 1, and it'll come up Mama Beth Alt, and just send me a DM and say follow me. Sometimes it shows the little envelope for the DM, and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know what's going on with Twitter either, but send me a DM. I'll send you a link, and you need to have Google Hangouts downloaded onto whatever device you're watching from. You need to have some earbuds or headphones, something like that, so it doesn't echo. And then you just mute YouTube, Google Hangouts will come up, and you can talk. And once again, we don't judge. This is a safe space. You can talk about anything. If you don't want your face on the stream, you don't have to turn your camera on. It gives you an option to turn your camera off and just use the mic, and it'll just show your profile picture. So everyone is welcome up here. And yeah, Kelly, it was horrible. They said that was it was grotesque. I've been in some real dive bars in my life and not heard things said like that. It was, somebody didn't get any home training. That's what we say. You know how it is. Steve said, I get knocked out. I consider it an act of love. You just like to be smacked around, don't you, Steve? God love him. We love our Steve. Beck said, I have been through hell and back, and now I'm dealing with B crying for food. It's heartbreaking. She sounds so bad right now. Honey, it's not going to be that much longer. A few more hours, and she'll be with the vet. She'll get her surgery. She'll get fixed. You all say it desexing, but we just say getting your cat fixed. But she'll get fixed, and then you'll be able to pick her up and bring her home, and it'll all be better. And then she'll be able to eat. So it's a little rattling when you've got, whether it's your child that's upset or your cat or your dog. Lord Brian's driving me crazy. I don't know what he's doing whining. He whines. He's been doing this for a couple of weeks. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong. He's been outside. He's been fed. There's water. He's getting cuddled. He literally is beside me just whining. I don't know what's going on. And we took him to the vet, and he's fine. So I think he's just being spoiled. But you missed the part with your daughter. I was away. Yeah, you were away from the keyboard, but it was just ugly. And I noticed that there were a couple people who went online at the same time that all those trolls came in. So you know what? But that's their sin to bear. I'm not going to do that. I don't do that to people. And that's the thing. I can only control my behavior and how I react to theirs. I can control my actions, just like all of you all control your own actions. Nobody can tell you what to do. Your anxiety is through the roof, Beck. I know that I know you vape, and of course that can help. But I know you took a good shower and to get ready and everything. But maybe just taking deep breaths. We do the anxiety routine where we breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, and we try to calm ourselves. And you know what? Get the kitty and see it and hold her and love on her, and that'll help. It comforts the cat and it comforts you. But this won't be going on for too long. Okay, she's gonna get taken care of soon. Let me see. Yes, I have River Queen. I do. I have great wrenches. And nobody should talk about anyone's children. I don't talk about other people's kids. I don't talk about other people's parenting. I don't talk about other people's family. And I think it would be nice if everybody did that, But, she's my baby, and I hate to see her cry like this. I know, it's heartbreaking. Kelly S., you certainly can. You can call me Mama Beth. You can call me Beth. Either way is fine. You can certainly ask a question. That's what we're here for. The reason behind this stream is for education, because a lot of people, they'll come to me and they'll say, I got this diagnosis, I'm on this medication and I feel this way. What should I do? Or my kid's acting this way. What do you recommend? And while I am not their therapist, I can say it would be a good idea to see someone, or, I can help comfort. I can listen and give support. Or if they've gotten a diagnosis, I can explain what that is and what it means and what treatments to expect. So it's all about making you more comfortable and helping people understand what mental health, and I don't like to say mental illness, because we're working towards mental health. And that's always, we're always trying to find a homeostasis. Our body's always trying to get into balance, and that's what we do when we're working on making ourselves better mentally, whether it's by seeing a therapist or whatever, or just working on ourselves. But hi, Joshua. Your name is? Yes, I am. I'm a therapist. I am not a doctor. I am so tired of explaining this. Okay. I do not have a PhD. I'm not an MD. If I were, I believe it would be everywhere. I'm not master's level. Okay. Master's degree. That's what I practice with. Okay. That's what I am. And no more, no less. And, nobody online is my patient. Nobody in here is my patient. I talk to people, and I want to give support, and I want to educate. Okay. I'm not treating anybody on here. So, yeah, Kelly. So that's answer the question. I've answered that question about probably 500,000 times in the last 2 months, because people keep saying that or that they accuse me of being everything else in the world. But yeah, that's what I do for a living, except for the last about 4 weeks, because I've been sick as a dog. But hi, Chris. I'm so glad you made it. Thank you so much. And Kelly says, I'll be away from my husband and fur babies for 2 more weeks. I miss them so much. I'm visiting my mom in Tennessee. Well, that, Kelly, you enjoy visiting your mom, and I'm sure that your husband and your fur babies miss you too. And when you get back, just think how good it's going to be when you get back home, and you get hugs and cuddles and all of that. That's what I always try to think of whenever I'm away from home for a little bit. But yeah, you know what? On my Twitter, I actually put that I worked at Mel's Diner flipping burgers, because I got so tired of being asked that. And people can't. I have had so many people say, "Oh, you can't be a psychologist if you don't have your PhD." Yes, you can. I think I would know, but yeah, people can believe whatever they want. If they don't believe me, they don't have to watch me. If they don't like what I have to say, then that's fine. I don't do anything to do anything. I don't do anything but try to support people and help, and direct them when they need to find someone. I'll help you find a therapist in your area, and that's my whole point, is to be positive, to be a positive influence for all the lurkers out there. Yes, this was brought up by someone who is not a gentleman, by the way. He called me on his live stream. I have never had an interaction with this person either. I've never spoken to him, never been on a panel with him. But he accused me of treating Beck, of treating her and telling her what to do, and he said things that no gentleman would say. And I just told, and he kept saying that I claimed that I was a doctor again. I'm not a doctor. So, but no, I don't treat anyone online. If I talk to someone online about different things, it's private, and it's a friend. It's friend to friend. So, but yeah, they can believe what they want, absolutely. They can have me as a friend, or they can move on. I don't give a crap either way. I love having friends, but if somebody's going to keep making such a big deal out of it, they can go somewhere else. There's all sorts of channels to watch. There are all different places to go on YouTube. And, there are as I keep saying, there are 2.3 billion users on social media. And so one person who thinks that, I don't know, some wild thing I'm not letting it get to you. Beck can shout. She has a big voice. She does. Her stream a little bit ago, I really enjoyed it. Hello, Jane. We like when Beck stands up for herself. Let's see. Oh, you enjoyed it. You just watched my other stream. Okay, thank you, Chris. I'm glad you enjoyed it. You'd never asked me. I believe you, but I believe that Dee Crenshaw. Oh, but that's the difference. Is I'm not saying I have cancer, although I am on chemo for RA, and I can actually go in there and grab my needle and the prescription. Well, actually, I don't have any more of the little bottles because my 4th week is up and I don't get my prescription refilled. But I've showed pictures of it, so I don't misrepresent. But I don't misrepresent what I am. I don't have to. There's no point. If I wanted attention, I would just do song and dance or something. I don't know. But there are a lot of people who do. Like Dee, I don't know how that all got started. I don't know what her reasoning for saying what she did. I don't understand her motivation. I am not, once again, I'm not close to her though. I saw the streams, a couple of streams that were done, and I felt sorry for her, to be honest. But I also saw that there was some misrepresentation of what was going on, and I hate to say lie. I don't like to say people are lying. I just like to say, they're coming across wrong, or they're giving false information. But there's a reason. There's a reason people do things. So, Pie Kitty says, is there a certain group that you see, like adolescents or adults or family? Actually, I do. I like to work with teens. Teens are my favorite. I relate pretty well with what I call young adults, and most people call young adults, don't just me. But I like young adults. I like to do couples counseling, family therapy. That's where I enjoy it. I've worked with all different in all different sectors. You kind of you test things out when you're in school, and when you're going through your internship and all of that, and you see different patients, and you figure out what you like and what you don't like. And I like doing CBT and DBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy. And I like to do psychoanalysis, which is just talk therapy. So, I like spending time with people and helping them understand themselves, and they figure out, I just ask questions and say, where do you think this is going? Or how do you feel about that? Usually people figure it out on their own. They just have to be directed a little bit. Sometimes we get a little lost. We just need a few directions. But I don't know. I like your name. I am feeling so much better than I have in the last month. Yesterday, I felt fantastic. Now, today, I'm not quite as good. My stomach's just a little upset, but it'll be all right. If I have to, I'll get some Pepto. Well, hello, Patrick. Thank you so much for coming in. What is JRA, juvenile rheumatoid arthritis? That's when you're diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis under the age of 18. And looking back at my symptoms, I probably could, if they had thought to do the test back then, because I did have some symptoms, but they were ignored. They were pushed aside. Oh, you're fine. You'll be all right. I was taught to kind of deal with it and shut up about it and just go on and get your work done and ignore it. I should have paid attention to my body back then and gotten some testing done. And then maybe I wouldn't have so much pain and, degeneration of my, the joints now. So, hi, Michael D. You stopped in for some orange Gatorade. Well, let me tell you, I have lime. I'm out of orange. I'm not happy about it either. My husband is going to the store to find me some orange Gatorade because I don't like this. I'm actually drinking some Diet Coke with ice because it settles my stomach a little bit. But I'm so glad you're here, Michael and Chris. I just asked the Oracle Google. What did you ask the Oracle? Okay, Jane. You're talking about what Beck said, that we're going to, that will all come to light and everything's going to be explained soon. We're going to, Beck may do a video by herself. I've actually talked to her about maybe doing like an interview type video, so people understand from the beginning everything that's happened and why, and you know what's going on, and so we get to the heart of the matter. So there's no more misunderstandings all the way around. But so we'll get there. But yeah, everybody makes mistakes. The only blessing that came from being so ill and so immobile as a child, Mama Beth, is that I did get a diagnosis in early childhood. See, and that's the thing. I was always getting hurt. I was always spraining something. And it was kind of like the family, oh, Beth sprained her ankle again, you know, her fingers, you know, she got her finger out of joint. I mean, literally, I was always, there was something bandaged. And it always had to do with my joints. And I bruised really easily. And, you know, it's like I always had an ankle brace on, and it got embarrassing when, you know, when you have something that's going on, but you don't have an explanation for it. But, you know, kids can be cruel. And so I got to where if I sprained my ankle, I would just deal with it. I would try not to limp, not show anybody, not tell anybody. Because, and I hid those things. Plus, you know, when you've got a parent who's in the medical profession, oftentimes they say, oh, you just want attention, or, no, you're not going, we're not doing this. You have to be bleeding and a bone sticking out before you go to the hospital. You know how that is. So you have bilateral neuropathy in both your legs. I have bilateral neuropathy in my pinkies. So, you know, I understand that. I did have it in my feet, but it eased up, thank goodness, because I didn't like Lyric or Neurontin. Either one, I kept falling. Christina says, I asked Beck a question yesterday. She yelled at me, but I gave her props for apologizing to me for it. That takes courage. She answered me the question as well, which I appreciated. That's the thing, you know, and that's good. And that's one of the reasons that I have been, I guess, you know, a cheerleader for Beck, is because she is trying to explain herself and apologize for things that have happened, and she's trying to do better. You know, if I see somebody that's trying to improve and do better in their lives and for themselves, I'm going to support them. I'm going to cheer them on, because we all screw up. We all screw up. I mean, anybody that says they haven't's a lie. They're lying. But yeah, so that's why I'm getting hates, because I'm being supportive of her. But that's okay too. But and I'm glad you all talked, because I think you all get along and you'll enjoy her chats, because she's funny. She's really funny. I love watching her. Beck, you go get in a bed and you get some sleep. God bless. And listen, your kitty's going to be fine in the morning. But actually, and Kelly, that's what happens. You know, you can be you know, you can lie to fit in, or you can lie to be malicious. And she's not malicious. You know, and we'll talk about that. And, you know, in her video, if she does it by herself, if she wants me to help her with it. But we're going to go over all of that. So hopefully all of this nonsense will stop. There's too much going on that's not positive. There's too much hate slinging and being mean to each other and yelling and screaming. I saw some stuff go on that literally made my jaw drop, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that adults are behaving this way and talking to each other this way. But let's see. Yeah, Lyrica does suck. 3.1. Yeah, I know. Yes, I am. I am monetized, and I have super chats available. I don't ever ask for super chats, but everybody needs to know that anything that I make from here is going to our animal rescue. And because they got Brian back for me, and they found Spanky and brought Brian back, and they have helped, you know, find other dogs. And it's a lady who runs the rescue, and she does it all with volunteer work, and she doesn't get any help or any aid from anywhere else. It's all people just pay, and she ends up a lot of times paying for her own gas and food and things like that. So you know, so I want to help her. If I can do something positive by helping people who come in my chat and talk, that's great. But if I can make a little money and give it to a worthy cause like that, that's even better. So I understand why she yelled at me. Christina says, I'm sure she had a lot of assholes coming at her, and she did. And she didn't know I was asking a legit Q. I'm always willing to work shit out rather than cop a toot. You know, and that's true. I have to say, Christina, because I was like, when all that crap was happening with me, you know, you were so adult about it, unlike so many others who just it was a breath of fresh air to be able to talk to you, and you know, adult to adult. So, and I appreciate that in you. You know, that was wonderful. I didn't believe in lying or out like that, but Beck's Beck. What can you do? You know, I'm not going to stand for any bashing. I don't want. This is not a time to bash anyone, and certainly not, you know, Beck. She's dealing with enough shit right now. She's got enough people that are harassing her and trolling her and saying things that are just way out of line. So you know what, Hippie Peace, I'm sorry that I get your side. You were told that you were getting a makeup palette as a prize, and it hasn't come. She has reason. She forgot, and then she ordered it, and you know, and it got mixed up. And let's face it, sometimes we just get screwed up on stuff, and we'll talk about that in her video. I'd rather discuss that when she's able to, you know, tell her side, tell what happened, and straighten it all out. So maybe there aren't so many hurt feelings. I know that there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of hurt feelings, but there's a lot of meanness that's been going on that doesn't need to be happening. It's just ugly. So you know, and there's a difference in having somebody's back and being friends with them, and then using them, coming in and telling them what to do. There are people who are friends and they're supportive, and I understand that your feelings are hurt about it, and that, you know, you thought you won, you know, you thought you were getting the prize from a giveaway, and it's 7 months later. But think about it. Is a makeup palette, is it worth losing a friend? You know, is it? Is it that important? I mean, when you look at it in the bigger picture, I mean, I get it. You feel like you've been duped. You feel like a fool. But when you look at the grand scheme of things in your life, it's a palette. And you know, makeup has nothing to do with it. Well, then, you know what? Maybe you need to write down a list of what it has to do with, because all I'm hearing is that there's a vape and a palette. And I didn't want to talk about this, and I still don't want to on this platform right now. I'd really prefer that we, once again, take it to a separate live stream where it's appropriate and where Beck is here to speak on it. Okay? Steve, okay. Hurry back, honey. Okay, and Christina, you'll be right back. You know, I don't think it's good to discuss this without Beck being present and being able to speak her piece too. And, you know, things happen, and, you know, we either forgive it, or we don't. We either become friends again and get along, or we don't. One way or another. But this constant turmoil is doing no one any good. You're upset. She's upset. What good is it? You know, let's move on. Yeah, the whole chat's becoming all about this, and I'm done with the subject. No more. I think you're exactly right, Steph. I don't want to discuss this. It needs to be shut down right now. But and bless, we'll talk about this at another time. You know, this is a mental health chat. We will talk about mental health things. We're not talking about Beck. And, you know, she's admitted to that she has a problem, that she has had a problem for a long time with, you know, not being truthful because she wanted to fit in, and she wanted to be liked and accepted. And, you know, she's not malicious. There's a difference. She's not cruel. But, you know, but that's the end of this. We're not touching this anymore. Just drop it all. Drop it all. And Marie, You know what? I've seen the way you talk to her, and I've heard the things that you've said, and I've seen the things you've said of me. Could you please get Ginge Marie out of my chat? Please get her the hell out of here, because I've had enough of her. You and your mouth, your trash mouth. Y'all go get me mad. I'm telling you what, I've had it with the mouth. Now, see, Beck's back up. She has to get up in the morning. She's taking her cat to the vet. She hasn't had any sleeping days, and now you see where this is going. You know, I don't want this talked about when she's exhausted, and that's not what the stream is about. So we're going to rewind. We're going to get back to what the topic is at hand, okay? And just drop it in if you can. Apologize. Thank you. Bless. I appreciate that. Does anyone have a question about mental health or have something they want to ask, please? You know what? It's not about what Marie said in here. Damn it. It's not about that. I have seen in too many streams what she said about me. And yeah, I don't like being called names. I've never called her names. I've never said anything, you know, on a live stream or in a chat that was nasty to her, but she sure has to me, and she doesn't even know me. She and I have never had a conversation before. So that's why she's out of my chat. Okay? My chat. Now, can we please get back to the subject at hand? Would somebody like to ask a question about mental health? Or else I'm going to go into describing what bipolar disorder is, what kinds, all the different types of bipolar disorder, and what to expect, because we talk a lot about narcissism, bipolar disorder, we hear borderline personality, and I'm seeing all these things thrown around, and a lot of people don't realize what the true symptoms are and what a true diagnosis of that is. So I have people, wait a minute, I gotta take a sip. I tell you what, this shit's got to stop. It's just got to stop. It's not your fault, Beck. You know, let's talk about bipolar disorder. Okay. When you go to the doctor and say you're in a very depressed state, I've got 2 dogs now over here because they heard me yelling. When you go to the doctor, say you go to your general practitioner and you're depressed, they may put you on an antidepressant. But the problem with getting any kind of psych meds from your GP is they see you at one time. They may not see you every day. They may not understand what you're going through enough. Or I always ask people to keep a diary of how they feel every day. That's very important, because with different personality disorders, with different mental illnesses, we have cycles that we go through. We have changes. We have mood swings. Bipolar disorder is swinging from manic, which is talking fast. You might have racing thoughts. You may have anxiety, severe anxiety. You may not be able to focus, but you may have a ton of energy. Usually manic, when you're manic, you have a ton of energy and you feel like you can conquer the world. It feels awesome. You're like, yes. Kind of like Superwoman, you know, or Superman. That's your manic state. Then there's the depressive state, which is the exact opposite. And you have no energy. You want to sleep all the time. You know, you're sad. Now, anxiety can come when you're manic and when you're depressed. Anxiety can come at both stages. Now, how do we decide if someone has these different moods and we see, you know, they're manic and they have depression? How do we decide what kind of bipolar disorder we're looking at and how to treat it? You keep a journal. You write in it every day. Hi, Twana. Thank you so much. Oh, Christina, we'll see you soon. Thank you, darling. Hi, Carrie. Schizophrenia and schizoaffective. Actually, I haven't uploaded a video on that yet. Schizophrenia is, how do I explain this where it doesn't sound like a textbook? Schizophrenia, you have full psychosis. You will see people that you will have, usually you'll have like auditory, like you'll hear voices, or you may see things, or you may smell things. Okay, these are all hallucinations, or, you know, you may have a super focus, like a lot of times you'll see people who are schizophrenic, they get a thought in their head and they believe it, and they, even though facts prove otherwise, they get hyper focused on religion. A lot of times you'll see that, or they decide that they get paranoid. You have paranoia, and it's a huge part of it. But they cannot seem to keep in a reality that makes sense. And oftentimes they're very confused by situations. They react differently than what you would expect someone to react. They have risk behaviors. There's a lot that goes with it. Schizoaffective, I had a doctor that once called it schizophrenic light, because they have symptoms. They may have focus. They may not have any kind of hallucinations or delusions, but they may have times where have you ever met somebody that you knew was just, there was something about, they're just eccentric, like in the South will say, well, he's just eccentric, he's, or she's just a little funny like that. What they're describing a lot of times is schizoaffective disorder. It's when someone can't seem to rationally stay in a place where it's healthy and normal. Their mind does not comprehend it, and they'll get paranoid. They will have spells, what we call spells, or stages. And I'm probably not explaining this well. They'll have stages where it's worse, but then they'll get better. It seems like they go back to normal. So it's not like full blown, needing to have a lot of care and have a guardian. It's hard to deal with, and it's hard to diagnose. So, because symptoms with different patients show up differently. You may have a schizoaffective mother and then a schizophrenic daughter, and at times they act the same. But then at other times, the schizoaffective person will be responsible, be able to keep a job, be what we would consider completely healthy in their behavior. But then someone, say the daughter, if they're schizophrenic, they can't function fully. They have a lot of trouble. Medication helps, but it's really hard sometimes to get people to stay on their medicine. If you know anybody that's on antipsychotics, they make you slow down. They do stop most of the time. If you're on the right medication, it will stop any hallucinations. It helps you focus. The delusions, lighten, but it makes you feel tired. All the antipsychotics, even the atypical ones, you've heard the Thorazine shuffle. Well, there's the Seroquel shuffle. They just, it slows you down. You don't have any energy, and so they feel crappy, and they smoke all the time. It makes you really want cigarettes. But so they'll go off their medicine. They'll feel better for a while and go off their medicine, but it's hard to treat. Schizophrenia is extremely complicated, and there are different types of schizophrenia, and we can go into all of that. I'd like to talk about bipolar right now, but we can definitely broach the subject of schizophrenia. Chris Cantor says, I'm angry. Okay, then, well, here we go. I'm angry. My mother is a narcissist with personality disorder. I had no choice but to go no contact. My sister just had a son, and I'm worried for him as he is her next target with her witchery. Chris, your mother, were you her target growing up? Because usually first off, has she been diagnosed by a professional as being a narcissist? And, because without that, every one of us has narcissistic tendencies. We all have a little bit of us that is narcissistic, but to have full-blown narcissistic personality disorder, you need to have that diagnosis. Now, if she has been, she has, okay, and you were her target, all right, when you deal with us, and I have a video on narcissistic parents, and then children of parents with narcissistic personality disorder, and I explain it better in there, but and I understand where you're coming from personal experience. They like to triangulate. They like to separate children. Like if there's two, like say you and your sister, if you were the target of her harassment, your sister was your sister the golden child? Was your sister the one that could do no wrong? and, was perhaps spoiled or, praised all the time. And then, it's usually one's wonderful. Oh, they never do any wrong. It doesn't matter what they do. They could get picked up by the police and have all sorts of charges. And that would be perfectly fine. While the other one, may be doing really well and not get into trouble, but yet the narcissistic parent, whether it's the mother or the father, will never acknowledge their good deeds. They are still going to see the bad in that person and then the good in the other. But there are 3 kids, and it changed from time to time. That's unusual. Usually there's one target. But if she's switching targets, then there's a possibility that she may switch to your sister. And going no contact is the only thing that really works. When I see someone who is suffering from, growing up with a parent that has MPD, I see pain, self-esteem is low. There's damage there emotionally. It messes with you because you've got someone that's been in control of your life, from birth, and did not accept or give you the love that you needed and the attachment you needed. So, there's long-term damage with a narcissistic parent. And it's so hard. And I understand it. And I think that my recommendation is, if you have a person in your life, whether it's a parent, a spouse, an aunt, you really can't fix them. There's no fixing them. They usually won't even acknowledge there's anything wrong. The classic narcissistic thing to say, it's not me, there's nothing wrong with me, it's everybody else. So they're not going to seek treatment. And if they can't acknowledge that there's anything wrong with them, and they won't seek any kind of help or accept that they might be at fault for anything, then all you can do is leave. Like I say, that's toxic. Leave. Get out. So you can watch this later. Thank you, I don't know, for coming in. You were the scapegoats and the whipping boy. Yeah, I understand that. And see, by her focusing the negativity on you, you have to just go away. You have to get out of her sight, out of her line of fire, out of her life, and it'll be the best thing you can do. Now your sister has to make that choice for herself. If your mother switches to your sister and starts treating her poorly, then your sister's going to have to make that decision whether she wants to go no contact or not. But you can encourage her. But then again, usually the narcissist will have the whipping boy or whipping girl, and then they will smother with attention, and they just want to be around the others. Oh, you're so good, and pet, and it's and praising. And usually the person who gets that, the golden child, gets sick of it, and it kind of it'll either drive them away, or they will become narcissistic themselves. They will start exhibiting that kind of behavior, because the one who is chosen for all of the praise, the narcissist sees themselves and their own behaviors in that person, in that child. So they pick the one. So that's your mom. See, and I hate to hear about that, because it hurts, because we all want a parent who's going to give us unconditional love like they're supposed to, be there for us when we need them, and let us be there for them, but we don't always get that. We don't get to choose our parents, and some of us get crappy parents. But I'm really sorry to hear that you've had to go through that, and I suggest that you get counseling. That's the thing. You've been through a lot. You're going to need support. You need to get out all these feelings of anger. You need to understand that it's not your fault, because underneath the anger, and I was angry for a long time, but I had to understand that it wasn't me. I was angry because I was hurt. My feelings were hurt. My heart was hurt because I wasn't being treated like I should have been, and I wasn't allowed to give love back either. So, you can find a group. There are groups now. This is narcissistic personality disorder is becoming something that you're seeing a lot of people talking about right now. You see memes about it, and I don't guess they're memes, I guess they're just pictures, with listing, if somebody does this, 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 and this, they are a narcissist and you need to get away from them. You see it on Facebook all the time. You see some on Twitter, but different platforms, they talk about it. So people are starting to recognize more that, hey, that's how I grew up, or that's how I was treated, and so behaves that way towards me, and I see that. So there are groups that are coming together, both online. Facebook's really good for having support groups. I'm in several support groups on there. But I suggest you talk to a therapist, get a reference from your GP, find a therapist, get into, you'll need to have talk therapy. That's what's recommended for this, and get that anger out and heal, and find the peace. But say she can work a washcloth. Oh Lord. The only reason I realized I wasn't a psychopath was because I have empathy for everything. I cried a lot. Oxfam, Edward one. Yeah, that's the thing. If you have love and attachment, and you can cry over something's going to affect you, that you're not a psychopath at all. Jane says, I'm adopted. My parents cherished me. I would love to find my birth parents one day. It's funny, I have friends who are adopted that found their birth parents, and they were really excited about it and wanted to meet them. And then I have others that were adopted and they're like, I don't ever want to know them. My adoptive parents are my mom and dad. So, but if you want to find your parents, there are different ways to do it. If, through the different records, and I forget the name of it, but you can Google it. There are all sorts of sites where you put your name in, and if you know where you were born and the date you were born, and if you were given a name, like, a last name, baby something, baby this, and you put it up, it's a national registry, and that way you may be able to find your parents, your birth mother, and eventually your birth father, or maybe your birth father has it in there. But that helps to connect. And I know a couple people have used that, but I can't think of what the name is, but it's a national directory. So hopefully you can get in there, and maybe you can find them. Carrie says, yeah, I'm worried for a baby too. How do we know when to call CPS based on a narcissistic personality disorder person's past with other children? That's a tough one. I'm not a big fan of people just saying, oh, I think they have this and they don't need to have children, so let's call CPS. I think, especially with the rash of things that have happened online. However, if you know that a child is being hit, they're being emotionally abused, they're being neglected, God forbid, molested, if any of these things are going on and you know that they're going on, that's when you call, and you can make an anonymous call. But you need to make sure that it's valid, and I'm sure you would. I'm sure you're not going to call CPS on somebody who is a great parent, But if they are being abusive to that child, or not providing a safe environment for that child to grow up and flourish in, then that's when CPS needs to step in. And hopefully CPS can find other members of the family to help. They can take the child and the baby and, get her help, or, figure it out, and, keep the family somewhat together. Sometimes it's best if the family's broken up. If, honestly, there are people who just don't need to be around children. But then there are people who can be if they get some help and support. But if you know that someone is abusing a child, by all means, definitely call. Let me go up. I'm missing some comments. Chris says, I'm 42 and well-rounded, but you're right, it still hurts. Yeah, I'm 47, honey, and it still hurts. Believe me, it still stings. And I'll have things pop into my mind that were said to me when I was a kid, and it still hurts. But you know what? Once I got into therapy and I started understanding myself better, and then I went to school and started, studying and understanding why our minds work the way they do, and what our responses are, and why we need things. Um, it got easier. I'm not angry anymore. I don't have that anger in me, and it's better. But I still, every now and then, I'll hear that voice. It just, and it hurts. But you know what? I made a conscious decision with my daughter to do everything opposite, to take what happened in my childhood and growing up and do it exactly opposite for mine. And my daughter's flourished. So it sucks that, I had to go through that and that you had to go through that. But, with conscious choice, you can really, you can find your blessing out of the curse. You know, it sucks. There's no other way to say it. It sucks to have to go through that, and you're still hurting as an adult. But turn it around, you know, get healed, get healthy, get it out, and use what you know about that to, to never do that to anyone else, and to make sure that, when, I don't know if you have children or not, but treat them like you wish you had been treated, because that's what I did, and that's what I recommend to others. Rabo, hi, honey. My mom was never diagnosed as a narcissist. I call myself the chosen one. I knew growing up. Growing, my mother hated me. I didn't do well in school, and I lied to her also because I didn't want to get hit. Well, I'd have lied too, to avoid it. Even as an adult, I had to stay with my parents for a short time. I was trying to help, to show my gratitude, cleaning their house, etc. My dad was very happy with my help. Then all of a sudden, my mom told me if she is home, she wanted me to stay in the basement. I guess she still hates me. You know, Rabo, I don't like to use the word hate ever. She's because you don't deserve hate, and it's not your fault that your mother doesn't appreciate and enjoy and treat you the way that you should be treated. It's not. It has nothing to do with how well you clean the house, or whether you lied to get out of getting hit. Who wouldn't? If you see a fist coming, you're going to duck, and that's what a lie is to a parent that is gonna hurt you. That's why I say don't. I'm not an advocate of spanking, because who hits a person that's smaller than them, and then to hit a child, that's a person that you love and trust. They should be good to you. So if you lied, you had good reason. But the it stinks when there's a narcissist in the family, because they take over. They rule everybody. You either do what they want, or there's a huge hullabaloo. There will be fits. They have to have control. They need control. But once you're an adult, get away, stay away, and you'll find happiness and love and feel more secure in yourself. But it takes therapy, and it takes time. But let's see. Carrie said, Kelly, you are likely just fine and occasionally cold, but can turn it off when you know someone is hurting. Is that possibly a weaponized empath? Well, I don't diagnose people. That's one of the things that I'm really careful about. I don't diagnose anyone online. We all have ways to protect ourselves, though. And if we've been hurt, we have the ability to stop our response. Shut down, like you say, be cold. We can either turn to anger, we can be cold, we can cry. We have different reactions that suit us personally. So Kelly, you may just likely be, putting the wall up so nobody can hurt you anymore. So occasionally cold. And Rabo, know that you are loved. Your father showed you that you were worthy, and you were loved. And your mother, I want to say it's not her fault, because this is a personality disorder, and it's an illness, and I want to say they can't help it, but they can help. Mental illness is never an excuse for bad behavior if you recognize that there's something wrong. But a narcissist oftentimes won't. I've never seen a true narcissist admit their fault, except for in a sarcastic way. But, you know, all you can do is, go into therapy and work it out and stay away from her. Talk to your dad, but just leave her out of your life. If she can't be good to you, then why would you want to be around her? Even if they are our parents, we deserve good treatment. Everyone does. Jane says, I know my backstory. My birth mother gave me up with love. Oh, that's good. Although I won't look until my mother has passed out of respect. That's so sweet. You know that you were loved both by your mother, your birth mother, and your adoptive parents, and you think enough of them to respect that. That's beautiful. And it sounds like you had some amazing parents. Carrie says, if they've done stuff in the past and okay, you're talking about there's a lot of different topics going on. I feel like I'm juggling. If they've done stuff in the past and they have access to another generation now, it depends on what the abuse is. I'll be honest. If it's sexual abuse, absolutely. Report. If you know that there has been any kind of touching, grooming, any of that, absolutely. There's no cure for it. If it's something else, if they, were with it, babysitting a child and they were doing things that were cruel or, hurting and harming, then I would be concerned and I would call CPS. If something happened 10 years ago, say when they were babysitting when they were 12 and now they're in their 20s and they're trying to become a parent and do a better job, then observe, watch, and be on the lookout. And if something's wrong, then definitely talk to someone and see what can be done. You can call CPS if you see something, but you want to make sure that, of course, the child is always safe, and we don't want a false report, but then again, we want to report when we see something. So I don't know what this person has done, but you have to use your best judgment, and I would rather be safe than sorry. I would rather call than not, to be honest. You moved to another continent, Chris? Lord, I moved to Europe to get away from mine at 18, but all those reruns. Jane, I think you're very blessed. I really do. And I think that both your adoptive mother and your biological mother would be very proud of you. Okay, let me go down through. Yeah, Carrie, you got to break the chains. That's for true. Wait a minute. Isn't it liberating when you finally stand up for yourself, Chris? When you say, you know what? I want nothing to do with you. I don't need anything from you. I don't need to take this abuse anymore. I'm done. That is like having chains fall off of you after you've lived a whole life trying to please the impossible to please, because you're never going to be good enough for a narcissistic parent, ever. Nothing you do. If you brought them a ton of gold and laid it at their feet, they go, you didn't stack it right. That's the thing. But when you finally say, I don't need your approval, I'm not going to try to get your approval, I want no contact, leave me alone, it is freeing. It's unreal. Hi, Scottish. I'm glad you're back. We've been kind of bouncing all over the place here. Oh, thank you, Twana. I'm trying to do my best. There's a lot of topics that are coming in, and I'm trying to keep up with everything. My Nana told me everyone knew what happened to me. Why didn't anyone help? She said she was like that when I was a toddler. My grandmother both of them, but the one that I took care of and the one that's still with us, have told me that they knew that something was wrong from the time I was little, the way I was treated. And in fact, that's why I stayed with them so much. Simply because once my brother was born, it it was all over for me. I was treated like a dog, and you understand that. You know what happens in the household, and so yeah. But I have asked my grandmother many times, and my late grandmother. I asked her. I said, "Why did nobody step in?" Well, it was a family thing, and we didn't want to break up the family, and it wasn't our place, and you just didn't do that in those days. To me, that makes no sense. I mean, I love my daughter to death, but if I saw her mistreating her child, I'd say, "Give me that baby," and it would be done. So I don't understand. I don't understand the reasoning behind not stepping in when you see that there's abuse. But now people do. A child who is hurt, or they know that there's bruises on a regular basis, or the child comes in and behaves in a specific way, they can go to a teacher, they can go to a counselor, anybody that they speak to can go to, or a neighbor can call CPS, and they'll have attention paid to them. They'll have a case opened. But back even the 90s, the 80s, 90s, and earlier than that, no. That's family business. You leave it be, especially in the South. That's, of course, I was raised in the South, and the values here are family business stays within the family. You don't take it outside. So there was a lot of hiding things that, you just didn't want people to know. So that's sad. And I'm glad it's not like that anymore. And I think we're raising our children better. Let me get down. Carrie, you certainly can play mind games with them. Let me tell you, um, if you have a narcissist in your family that you can't say you haven't broken attachment from, if you just ignore them when they tell you, when they keep digging and digging, because it usually starts out with passive aggressive, then it becomes aggressive aggressive. If you just ignore it, pay no attention, I go, okay, and move on to something else and give them no reaction. Really, that will get under their skin. But then again, you're going to have to deal with the blow up later. So that's why I say it's better just to get away. Don't even engage. It's just too hard. Kelly says, Carrie, are you talking about me? I've never been abused. If anything, I'm the most spoiled 32-year-old in the world. What made me cold was getting my heart broke. It made me a bitter person, not a better one. Doesn't it, heartbreak, I have a video where the broken hearts go. When we really love someone and they hurt us and they break our hearts, it takes a long time to heal. And, having loved and lost, and, or whether it's someone breaking up with you or someone passing away, or, circumstances separating you, if your heart is broken, you need to heal. And I always say, Kelly, I don't know how long you've been since you were hurt, but I say give yourself a year to heal before you even start dating again, or even think about it, because you need to find yourself again, and you need to be able to become comfortable with yourself and to love yourself again, and realize that you're worth being with, and there are people out there who would love to be with you and who are worthy to be with you. So give yourself time. It's okay if you're a little cold right now. You'll come back, and you'll be the old you, only better. It'll happen. I know it probably thinks, when we first get our hearts broke, we think it's the end of the world and we're never going to feel any better. And, I wish there was a pill that would take away that awful feeling. There's nothing that feels any worse, except for maybe watching your child go through it. That's pretty awful. I wish there was a pill or some magic cure or a wand or something that we could do to take that away, but there's not. Time, talking, having support, and, finding your self-esteem again, because it really, it tears you down. But I hope that you can find the love for yourself and for others again, and then you won't feel like you're cold and that you can't have loving feelings. Now, Carrie said, okay. Okay, Pamela says, prayers, please. Today marks 1 month since my dear sweet mother passed, and 9 months since my daddy did. We all have such different journeys in this life. Yes, you definitely in my prayers, Pamela, and I am so sorry. Sorry, phone went off. I am so sorry that you've lost both your parents in such a short time. And uh, honestly, grief counseling, I'm not very good at, because I'll just cry with you, and I'll sit and boo-hoo. But when you've lost one parent, it's hard enough, but to lose two, um, it sounds like I'm a broken record saying you need to get into counseling. You need somebody to talk to on a weekly basis or biweekly. Um, you know, get in a group for people who have lost a loved one, a different group therapy. Look in your town. Um, Call. There's usually a mental health center in each town, like it's connected with the health department, and they can direct you to different groups that meet. They usually meet at churches and sometimes schools, different places, and you'll be there with a therapist, a mental health professional, and you'll be able to talk, share your memories, share your pain, share your joy. Um, and eventually, instead of talking about the hurt, you start remembering the good things, and you heal. But it takes a long time, and you have to go through the stages of grief. Um, I don't think your YouTube narcissism is going to help your mental health. Well, I'm not a narcissist, Ray Ray. So you can go. Bye. And if I was a narcissist, I wouldn't admit it, but no, I'm not. But I'm a child of a narcissist, so I understand that. And see, these trolls, they're not even amusing anymore. Chris. But yes, please, everyone who prays, back to the subject, put Pamela in your prayers. And Pamela, please, seek out a good group, and that you can open up with, and really really get your feelings out, and will help you heal. And it will take time. I'm still grieving my grandmother that I took care of, and it's been since 2008. So sometimes it takes longer for some people than it does others, and you've lost two parents, and that's traumatic. um, do you think child abuse can lead to subconsciously always picking the wrong guy? Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me talk about that. Let's start with girls. Hear about girls who have daddy issues. um, that the guys will say, oh yeah, she's got daddy issues, she's going to be clingy, and or she's crazy, she's got daddy issues. You know what? That's nothing to joke about. um, if and I'm just talking about girls right now. If a girl grows up and she does not have a stable, loving, role model type figure, and I mean a male, so she can identify how men are supposed to treat women. If she can't see that and learn that growing up, then when she becomes a young woman and she starts dating and finding relationships, what will happen is she will find, a lot of people say, yeah, oh, you always marry your dad. No, you don't. Not always. But that's our first knowledge of how we're supposed to be treated, is how the man, the father, or the uncle, or whoever, if it's a single mother, oftentimes it's a boyfriend will step in and be the father figure, or the uncle, or the grandfather, or somebody. If a young girl is not treated with love and respect, and respect not only for her emotional well-being but her physical well-being, then she will think that that's normal, right? And so when she's a teenager and she starts dating, if, say, okay, she's got a dad who hits her. Say her dad knocks her around, cusses her, and this is just a hypothetical. If a girl goes through that, then when she's a teenager and she meets a guy who is violent and hits her and cusses her, she's going to think that's normal, right? Because we live what we learn. And that's why I say child abuse, it affects us deeply. We learn 80% of everything we know in life by the time we're 4. And that includes our emotional foundation for the rest of our life. So if a young girl is abused by the male role models in her life, whether it's one or many, she's going to look for that in a partner as she goes along. She will also look for that in her friends, because if she's not worthy of good treatment by dad, why would she be worthy of good treatment by her boss or her friends, much less her boyfriend or eventually her husband? And without, if a child has gone through that, when they grow, they need to have someone step in and say, you're worthy. That needs to change. The attitude needs to change about yourself, because when you're abused growing up, you don't think you are worthy of love. And we all are worthy of love. But that's why I say young girls have to have, the father figure. Okay, then let's switch over to a boy. If a boy has been abused, say, okay, and we're just dealing with dads right now. Okay, we'll get to moms. If a young boy is raised and he sees his father being abusive towards his mother, being abusive towards him, smacking him around, yelling at him, telling him he's worthless, not being a positive role model, not being the way a father should be, like we want a father to be. If a young boy grows up seeing that, he's going to emulate it. He's going to say, that's how I'm supposed to act because that's how he acted. Unless there is a catalyst to change the child's viewpoint. To say, oh, I don't like the way my dad's treating me. That's not what I want. I like the way so-and-so's dad treats them, and that's what I want to be. So there has to be some kind of a motivating factor, to have a friend with a great dad, and then they compare. So, they can choose how they want to live their life. But okay, that's abuse from a father. And also, if a boy is raised in a household where the father is physically abusive towards females, towards the mother, towards the sister, they think that's normal. We've seen and heard from all these different people. They're like, yeah, I hit women. She swung at me first. I'm going to hit her back. No. We know hitting is wrong. But if you're raised in an environment where that's normal, then it takes somebody to shake that out and shake them up and say, no, that's not right. But they have to want to get that, and they have to have somebody in there to teach them better and to change that way of thinking. Otherwise, they'll go through life and they'll be doing the same thing they were taught. Now, okay, with a mother, the abuse, if a girl sees her mother being abusive emotionally, physically, psychologically, playing psychological games, talk about narcissists, a girl will either emulate it or she will cower from it. She'll either become like that, and I always say my worst fear is I'm going to turn into my mother. I've tried to do the opposite, but every now and then I hear myself and I'm like, ugh. But a young girl who is mistreated by her mother thinks that she's not worthy of love, because the first heartbeat you hear, the first sound you hear is your mother's, right? And oh, Robbo, thank you. Sometimes I don't think I'm very smart. I don't think I'm explaining these things right, because there's a lot of questions. But but as a young girl, if you don't get that love that you need from your mom, and all you get is disapproval and abuse and never being good enough, that's really going to affect you. And I think, honestly, a mother has more effect on a daughter than the father does. I mean, they always say daddy issues, but I think they have mommy issues more than daddy issues, because it a young girl gets everything from her mother on how to be a woman when she grows up, how to be in a relationship, how to be a mother, how to take care of a home, how to be part of a family, how to be in public. You know, when we grow up, we look to our mothers to teach us that. Girls do. You know, that's where we learn all these things from manners on. And so when a girl doesn't have that from her mother, she's going to grow up and she's going to be, there's a high possibility there's going to be insecurity, and she's not going to understand how to behave, or she will emulate her mother and be just as bad. Now, a boy, if he's abused by the mother, they can do the same thing, flip, and they will seek out women who are abusive, may have, like, there's always a guy in the crowd who says, all of my girlfriends, every girl I've ever dated is crazy. Have y'all heard that? And I'm sorry I'm using the word crazy. Everybody gets up in arms if I say that. But, you know, you'll hear guys say, every one of my girlfriends was like this. Well, then you look and you say, well, what was your mother like? You know, because that's my first go-to. Well, tell me about your mom. And usually the mother has a lot of the same qualities that they're complaining about their girlfriends all along. So boys learn how women are supposed to act from their mother. So that's why we need both. And even if, I mean, I was a single mom, and, you know, I know how hard that is, and there are single dads too, but kids need role models for both sexes. And, you know, they need to learn how people interact with one another, how they treat people in a family, how they treat children, and how they treat people in public. You know, we learn all these things from our parents. So if you're abused as a child, or you're hit as a child, especially hitting, you know, you hit a child, and I'm sorry, if you hit a child, you don't know how to parent. You need to go back and start all over again. You know, but if you're raised with physical violence, then physical violence is going to be your norm, right? Doesn't that make sense? Oh, thank you, Scottish. The whole basis of a family comes from birth on. And if your parents have you know, I know so many good couples. I am blessed. That's my third marriage. Okay. First husband divorced, second husband died. This one I'm keeping forever. And I've told him, if I die first, he's cremate me and put me in a coffin with him. I'm going to hang around in a little box until he's time to go. I'm not going anywhere. We laugh about it all the time. Because I love him, and I finally found somebody that was my match, and a healthy relationship, and good to my daughter. And she is getting to see what a healthy couple looks like. And that's what we want for our children. And that's why I say, don't be afraid to leave a toxic relationship, because if you stay in it, what are you teaching your children? That it's okay to be abused, that it's okay to have an unhappy home, it's okay to yell at each other, it's okay to hate one another. Because let me tell you, my first husband, I hated to see his vehicle in the driveway. When I came home, oh my Lord, oh, he's there, I want to turn around, I'll go do something else. You know, I did not want to go home. I didn't want to raise my daughter in that atmosphere, that whole relationship. So I didn't. And I encourage people, if you're not happy, to get out, because your kids are going to be affected by it. Don't stay together for the kids, separate for the kids. You know, if you can work it out afterwards and come back in a healthy manner, great. But if you can't, give them 2 happy households rather than 1 miserable one. You know? Rabo, honey, I have felt like my life was just a disaster. And then after some time and self-reflection and counseling, you're always going to hear me say, get counseling, talk to somebody, get in front of somebody. And, you know, like what we're doing here, you all are so supportive in the chat, and I love it. And I really appreciate it. But while this is great, you need to be face-to-face with someone, and you need to be able to, you know, air everything and talk about it and get support, you know, one-on-one and then in groups. And, you know, what was a mess can sometimes, with work, you can turn it into an amazing life. Absolutely amazing. You know, I don't know whether you all are following the Twitter account Chauncey Bean, ChaunceyBean. And this may seem like it's off topic, but you'll get me in just a second. They are, I don't even know where they live. I don't even know where they are. All I know is they've been collecting milkweed leaves and growing caterpillars and then turning into monarch butterflies. Okay, I love butterflies. I love dragonflies and butterflies and hummingbirds, all of that. And that's my thing. So this account showed from the egg laid on the milkweed to the caterpillar to the pupae to it coming out of the chrysalis and spreading its wings. Now, one of the things that they said when they were explaining, the different stages, I think it was a little short video, was that inside that chrysalis, inside that cocoon, was just mush, liquid, nothing to it. It was just squish. But it was all going to come together because it was meant to, and then it was going to be a butterfly. And I thought, you know what? Sometimes we are like that. We have to get in a cocoon. We have to protect ourselves. And sometimes we just turn to mush and we have to just go bleh, and just let go. And then when we're ready, all the parts start coming together. We start loving ourselves. We appreciate everything that is around us, things that we have talents in that we can give the world, and we start to heal, and we start to feel better, and then we can become our butterflies. We're our own butterflies. And that's what I'd like to see everyone be able to do. I don't want people to stay in, the caterpillar stage. I don't want them to stay in the cocoon stage. I want people to rearrange and, find where all the parts are supposed to go. And I loved thinking about it that way. And I thought, and please go follow that account because it's fascinating. And he's got other butterflies. He or she, I don't even know. But, yeah, we all are meant to be butterflies. We're all meant to be beautiful creatures. And we're individuals. We all have something beautiful to give to the world. And, we get beat up and mangled and, kicked around. But there's always a way to make changes, to fix it, to heal. As long as we're alive, we can do it, right? I mean, even if we're 80 years old and, if we're having problems, we can still fix things. We can change. We can evolve. And my 97-year-old grandmother says that too. She said, we can make every day we should try to be better than we were the day before. She's wise. She is a wise woman. Bye, Kelly. You're starting to be a nice person, so you're going. Have a good evening. Peace in the Middle East. Amen. Bye, Kelly. I'm really glad to have you here. And, the thing that I want people to understand, okay, we understand what a narcissist does, like we were talking about narcissists. They find their power by tearing others down. And if you've been around one, if you're friends with one, or you know somebody who is one, or you're related to one, you'll see that they take people who are succeeding and they pull them down because they think that by, doing that, they become higher. You've heard, I'm sure everybody and their brother's heard, blowing out someone's candle doesn't make yours shine any brighter, but a narcissist doesn't understand that. They want to be the only candle in the room, and they'll fight for that. And when you've had your candle blown out so many times, it's really hard to get that wick to light. But when we take the time and we go to group therapy, like Steve said, group therapy helped him more than anything. I mean, you have to have time for introspection and maybe get a different viewpoint. And it may not even be from the therapist. that is running the group, or the therapist that you're seeing, if you're seeing somebody one-on-one. It may be just a phrase that they use that makes you go, things that make you go, that you go home and you go, that hit right where I needed to be. And you start healing, and you start changing and feeling things get better. And that's what we want. Yeah. Let's see, Kelly, honey, I'm so glad you were here. Twana, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I had, I love that. I love that account, and I love what it's showing. And I just think it's fascinating how these things, how nature works. And y'all know I'm Christian, and I see God in all these things. I'm like, God makes butterflies. That's how it happens. How else? Science and God work together for me. But, I just think that whatever we grow up with, we have to take that, and we take the good and we keep it and we let it grow. And then whatever's harmful, whatever's hurting us, we cut it away, like a cancer, cut it away. We examine it like a biopsy. And if we need treatment, we treat it like chemo or radiation, and then we heal. But we have to go in those steps. And this is sort of like psychoanalysis. This is what we do with talk therapy. We just talk back and forth. But let's see. Hello, Dancing Queen. I've heard your name. I can't remember where. Steve's group was for depression and loved one loss. And, there are a lot of groups that concentrate on different things, but grief and addiction seem to be the two most popular groups to find in pretty much any town or city. You'll find a group somewhere, and you may ask your local physician, whoever you go to, ask. You can call, basically, like here, you can call any psychiatric office, or really any clinic, and they'll tell you where groups are being held. And then you get to reap the benefits of it. You get to, go and attend, and you'll meet people, and they'll lift you up, and you'll lift them up. And when you do good for others, you feel better about yourself. And that's what it's all about, feeling better, knowing yourself better, loving yourself more. And, but did I wear Kelly's defenses down? God love her. Broken hearts are awful. They are awful. And you had a list of daily affirmations that you said every day. I'm a big believer in that. And anybody who's ever, talked with me, or, whether as a friend or, however, whether on a professional level or on a friend level, they know that I'm really big on daily affirmations. I really like for people to get into the mirror. Get in your mirror. Look for, we're so trained to look for the bad. We never look for the good. Go look in the mirror. Find what you like about yourself and say it. Say, I look good today. I really am glad that this is that way, or that's this way, or I'm glad my hair is red. God keeps wanting to turn it silver, but I'm fighting that. But get in the mirror and tell yourself good things. Be happy about who you are, and love yourself. If you don't love you, how are you going to love others? If you don't take care of you, how are you going to take care of others? And so yeah, get in that mirror. Say those affirmations, meditate on them. If you like to meditate or pray, there are verses in the Bible that are wonderful to meditate on if you're Christian, or if there are Confucian sayings, different ones that are meant to build you up and give you strength and emotional support. And, we have to sometimes convince ourselves that we're good, right? We have to say, hey, I'm all right. This is what I'm meant to be doing, and I'm on the right path. And if you're not on the right path, figure out where your feet need to head. Figure out which way to turn. Damn it, I do have Top Chat on, by golly. Thank you, Steph. You could have told me an hour and a half ago. It's all right. Oh Lord, why did why do they have? Why do they even have Top Chat? That's the dumbest thing they ever invented. All we wanted was an edit button on Twitter, and we wanted to be able to have YouTube do what we wanted it to do instead of glitching all the time. We didn't want Top Chat. But let's see who I've missed. I was offered group talks for my loss, but you prefer to reflect on your own, which is okay. And it is okay to reflect on your own, but being alone all the time, I have to say, it's called isolating. And if you do that, you're not going to heal as quickly. I know that it feels better to be alone because you don't, it's really hard when you've had a loss to, especially such a big loss. You kind of want to hide, and I understand that. Believe me, I wanted to. The last person that was really close to me that passed was my grandmother, and I wanted to crawl into a hole. I wanted to just curl up into a ball. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I cried for a week solid. A dear friend of mine, Donna, she's actually, if you listen to Hick Hop, her son is Jelly Roll, and he's getting really, really popular. I remember when he was just making CDs, and she was and copy them on her computer so he could sell them. But she came up when my grandmother passed away and took care of me for a week. I don't even remember the week. I sort of remember the funeral. I remember a little bit at the gravesite. After that, I was so traumatized, I don't remember any of it. But I didn't want to move. I didn't want to get out of the house. I wanted to stay alone and think about my Dee Dee and how much I missed her. But then I started getting out, and of course I had somebody to talk to. I had a therapist to talk to. And they kept saying, Beth, you got to get up and, get back out in the world again and start again and get used to it again. And, it's okay to talk about your grief, and you need to share with other people. And that helped. It really did. It helped a lot. And I'm glad that I did it. And, when you're ready, honey, you will do it. But think on it. Look to see where the groups are. Look to see what's available. And then when you feel ready, get your car keys and go. See what it's all about. Who knows? You may find that it's the most comfortable place you've ever been, and it's free. Because we want to talk about it. We need to share. When we share our grief, it takes part of it away. And it's been a long time. It's been a long time ago. In a video, I was talking about one of my favorite sayings. It's a Native American saying. And it says, when you have a burden or pain or grief or worry, when you share it, you half it. You give half away to the person you share it to, and then you still have half. So each time you share it, it's halved until finally you're able to carry it, and then it disappears. And that's the truth. You need to share it and let other people help you, get through it, get through the pain. But yeah, so Jane, I really do. I want you to look and see what groups are there, what's available for you, and when you're ready, get your car keys and go. It can't hurt. It really can't. What's the worst thing that can happen? You're gonna cry. Everybody in there will be crying. They'll cry with you. Every group that I've run, I cried. Every time I go to therapy, I cry. If it's a good therapy session, I'm going to cry. That's my therapy, not me being the therapist. But, it's getting emotion out. Sometimes I'm angry, but usually I cry. But, that's it. That's the whole thing. It's cleansing. But, Carrie, I'm glad this is helping with your anger. And, if you can terminate his rights, then by God, do it. Do what needs to be done. But, you know, like I say, it's better to be safe than sorry. So do what you need to do. Okay, honey. Um, Scottish, you grind your teeth? I've been grinding my teeth. And my dentist actually said to go get, I think she said they carry them at like CVS and Walmart, one of those night guards. But honest to goodness, I had one of those years ago and I spit it out all the time. I mean, I'd wake up and it'd be across the floor and it was worthless. And I have 2 little dogs and they would chew it up in about 2 seconds. But yeah, where I've been sick, I think it's affected me and I'm grinding my teeth, and that's anxiety, you know. So I need to start listening to my own words, taking my own advice, and getting rid of some of my anxiety. But Carrie says, I take Atarax, it's an antihistamine that can be used off-label. Yeah, that. Yeah, I have had it so bad that my teeth loosen, and Visceral is good. I've been using that when I needed it. It helps. It's an antihistamine, but it doesn't work on me like an antihistamine. Like I can take it and I'll still wake up and I'll have like an allergy attack, which is really funny because I take Benadryl for that. But and Visceral is an antihistamine, but it helps me sleep, but it helps me relax, so I'm not grinding my teeth as bad. But Bravo says my son has dissociative identity. So, oh wow. I'm not sure I understand it. He gets a job and doesn't show up. He would do his homework and never pass it in to the teacher. Can you explain it to me? That is not something I can explain in a few minutes. Dissociative identity disorder. They used to call it multiple personality disorder, but we have since understand it more. It's not quite like Sybil and All About Eve. Those are real popular. And let me tell you, after that book came out and the movie came out, everybody and their brother was getting diagnosed with multiple personality disorder. Oh, it's this personality, that personality. And we know now it's not like different people living in the same body like it's portrayed. Hi, Bashful Dame. Hi, doll baby. How are you? It's not like it's portrayed in the movies. What it is it's how do I explain this? Okay, we have our conscious self. Like, I know who I am. I know who I'm speaking with. I'm a whole person. You know, I have a full range of emotions. I can be angry. I can be happy, mad, sad, whatever, you know, delighted, laughing. And as a person, I have all of that in me. I have the capability to feel all those things and express them and be able to handle whatever comes at me. You know, I have no fear, no deep-seated fear of any kind of confrontation or any emotion. Dissociative identity disorder, it's where the person's conscious self oftentimes cannot handle different emotions or, say, actions, different situations. So what they'll do is the conscious mind will take a step back, and the other part of the personality, because we're capable of doing that. Our mind is unreal, the things that we can do with our mind. And it convinces itself that a new person is taking over, or a new personality who is stronger and able to handle whatever's going on. It's called switching. Some people call it switching. Some people call it, I've heard it called, well, they're alters. That's what we call alternate personalities. Let's see, there's some, switching is what I've heard more. Honestly, it's rare. DID is very rare, and I know 3 people with it, and out of my whole life. But it's really interesting. But the whole idea is that, like, say, if they had some kind of a trauma when, like, I don't know what your son has gone through, but say there was an accident at age 5, and he has blocked it from his memory, but one part of his mind is able to handle it, the other part can't. So whenever it's brought up, or say another situation like that comes forward, that part of the brain, or that part of the personality, excuse me, that has handled that before and has the capability to, withstand the emotions that go with it, it comes forward. And, sometimes alters are named. Sometimes they have different names, and sometimes they're different sexes. Uh, it's very, it's very interesting, and there are some really good books on it. And I tell you what, if you will DM me, I'll give you some books that will help understand, because it's really, I'm not doing a very good job of explaining it, but it is not like the movie Sybil or All About Eve. It's not hysteric. They used to call people who had this happen, they'd say they were hysterics, and but to see people switch, it's very interesting, and it's fascinating. But your son it's not like for the rest of his life he has to fight to, well, we don't say integrate. They used to say they wanted to bring all the personalities together to integrate. Now we know that those personalities need to be recognized. Different parts of the personality, the whole person, recognize that, okay, this part handles this part handles that, and different situations. This is the mad part of me. This is the happy part of me. This is the sexy part of me. This is the girl side. This is the boy side. And what we want is that they're all understand that they have roles and they're all part of a whole. We get the person to, accept that they are a full person, and all of these alters are part of one personality. But definitely DM me and I'll get you some reading material. But let's see. Yeah, Bashful Dame, I decided to go live today. Yesterday, my 1 o'clock stream went a lot longer, and I didn't want to run into Uber's time, so we decided to do this today. And I'm going to go till 3, and because honestly, I got to clean the house. My house is a disaster. Let's see. We're talking meds. You're on Zoloft. You'll need to talk to, Rabo, talk to your doctor. And the thing, and I always recommend, don't go to your GP for psych meds. Go to your psychiatrist for psych meds. Let them do the evaluation. Let them see how you're reacting to things, and see a psychologist. Okay, this is where people like me come in. We see you and we see how you behave, and you tell us, I feel this way, I feel that way, and the medicine isn't making me feel good, or the medicine's working great, or I'm okay, but I think I could be better, so we up the dose. And you want to have a mental health team work with your psych meds, because your GP, it could be the latest rep coming in with a new medicine. They say, oh yeah, this is for bipolar disorder, and you come in and you say, well, I've been diagnosed with bipolar. They give you a bunch of samples, and it may not be something that's going to work with what you had before. You don't want the sales reps making your mental health medication choices for you. Okay, that's really important. But okay, Rabo says he was traumatized at 3. My neighbor would shut off our electric, gas, etc. They purposefully hit a door into his, holy crap. They would take a doll with a noose around his neck and swing it in front of my window. He started getting night terrors, so I moved. Thank God you moved. Okay, that could have been the trauma that caused this. There's usually, in what I have studied, and in, like I say, it's rare. It seems to stem from some early childhood abuse or traumatic event, or even continued events like what you're describing. But with counseling and care, he can get into a position of where he can function well. He's always going to have dissociative identity disorder. That's always going to be a diagnosis, and that's okay. It's like you get a diagnosis for being depressed or having anxiety. That's fine to have a diagnosis like that. Nobody's perfect. We all have something. thing is, we take care of it and we treat it. That's what's important. But I tell you what, that neighbor needs his butt whooped. But Steve said, like a woman I read about got raped, and when a man hit on her, she was shy, but when he touched her, the other person came out and beat the guy half to death, then switched back and walked away. That's an extreme case, but it depends on the patient, I guess. I honestly, if I had somebody with DID here, I would, and I know a person who would probably come on and talk about it, and maybe I can get her to do it. But it's very interesting. It's a very, very complex but very interesting diagnosis, and the treatment there is not any 100% treatment. Medication, we treat symptoms, but we have to do the best we can with it, and make sure that the person is happy and content, and that every alter is acknowledged and has a place and is part of the whole. But yeah, I'm so sorry that he went through that and that you went through it. I know one person with DID. Once I talked with him as himself, we talked about one of his most present alters. Then later he switched to that alter. So that alter saw what we had said about him and actually got angry with me. Yes. The person that I know that I was talking about, she will tell you when she's having, when she's switching. Actually she's on social media and she'll say, it's coming out, this is happening, to kind of give you a heads up, because a lot of times the tweets, the comments are completely different. They may go from, like, one alter may be very aggressive and very angry, and then the next will be really sweet and gentle and kind and loving, and and then but very different personalities. You think it was really two different people, but it's all part of a whole. But it is interesting to witness. It's to see it close up. It's almost like the face. The one patient that I knew that had it, it was almost like when they switched, the facial features even changed because the expressions were different. The body language was different. I'm like, that is fascinating. This is why I love studying psychology. I find it absolutely fascinating, the way our minds work, and how we're affected by different things in our life, and how we heal ourselves, how we protect ourselves, because that's what DID is. It's a way to protect ourselves. So that person who has it, they need to be able to take that trauma and go and then have their other personality, or how many you can have. I don't know what the limit is. Some people say there's 3 or 4, and some people say there's as many as hundreds. I don't know. I'm not an expert on that. That's not. I'm not a specialist on DID, but I do find it fascinating. But yeah, it's a matter of protecting. My son is 26 now and is in therapy and on medication. I haven't seen a difference. So the medication hasn't worked at all. That's bad. That's with therapy and meds that maybe he needs another healthcare team. It's not an easy thing to treat. I'll be honest with you. It's everything that I have studied and read on it, and I would have to actually do more research on it. I do know some great books that they referred to us way back when I was in classes, but I don't think I could take on that challenge, because some things are just above me. I would want a specialist in that disorder. But yeah, I find DID fascinating. I find psychopathy fascinating, or antisocial personality disorder. Sociopaths and psychopaths. I find that fascinating. That's kind of, those are the ones that when I go to read, that's what I choose to read on. So I'm more familiar with those things, or not DID, but with the antisocial personality disorder. But DID I find fascinating, but I just don't I don't treat anyone with it. You know, I don't have anybody here that calls for that. And honestly, I would send them to someone who knew more than I did. Uh, this guy, his alter is a 12-year-old, so they talk differently, but it's subtle, so nobody would notice unless you already know. Isn't that just cool? I mean, I don't want to say cool, like it's a great thing to have, but it is so interesting. And he said, "Don't talk about me. I don't like that. I'm mad at Brent right now." Oh, wow. That's, see, and that is just so, it's so rare to find that. And Rabo, I hope you can find, I hope you can find someone who's an expert. You might try like Johns Hopkins or the Mayo Clinic or one of the bigger hospitals. I don't know where your son is going or what team he's seeing, but it's such an unusual disorder. I would want a big hospital, Cleveland Clinic. They have a great psych department. Um, I would definitely want somebody with a lot of years behind them, under their belt, a lot of study, and a team helping him. Always having a tough time keeping apartments. I found out my dad is supporting him financially. My dad told me he gave him $7,000 in a few months. Oh Lord. If he's having that much trouble, maybe he needs to be have a guardian, you know, until he can get more help and be more stable. Oh, Twana said, "I just have a quick question before we end today. As I get sicker, I'm pulling away from my children to try and protect them. Any advice?" Don't pull away. Don't pull away. I know you think you're protecting them, but it's our instinct as mothers, believe me, to protect our babies from anything that could possibly hurt them. And you know that they are going to have pain when you go. Just like any mother who passes, their children are going to go through grief and pain and the feelings of loss, and it's going to be hard. But Twana, your children love you, and every second that you are on this earth, every minute that you can be on the phone with them, that you can see them in person, that they can come by, that they can, even if they just come over and sit at your bedside, give you a drink of water, talk, spend time with them, make every second count, and you know that you're sick and you're getting sicker, and it's awful to have to contemplate that we're terminal. But I think that your children would appreciate the fact that you're trying to protect them, but they would want to be with you. They would want to have every moment they can. Okay? See, this is why I'm not going to grieve, because I'm going to cry now. I think if I could go back, I would have literally videoed my grandmother. I would have videoed other people that I've lost, so I could watch the tapes. I would want more minutes with them, more hours with them. I would want more time. I would want to hear that one more story. If I could hear, sorry, if I could hear my Dee Dee, shit. If I could hear my Dee Dee say one more time, "You're our only granddaughter. We love you." Because she used to say that like every 5 minutes. I'm sorry, Twana. If I could hear that one more time, I'd give 10 years off the end of my life. Shit. I'm sorry. I hate crying on camera. I told y'all I'm not good with grief. I'm still grieving after all these times, 10 years. But Twana, call your children. Let your children see you. Spend as much time with them as you can. Sorry. Give me just a second. I'm going to turn the camera off for just a second, okay? Let me get together. Well, y'all, I said it wasn't a good therapy session unless you cried. So I'm cried, but that's why I like I say, I'm still grieving. But spend every minute with your children, Twana. You you know you have knowledge. You have foreknowledge of what's coming. Plan, and give them the comfort to know that they are loved and wanted and needed and appreciated, and that they've been everything you'd ever want your children to be. Tell them everything you want to say to them that they need to hear, and give them that. That is the most beautiful gift that you could give. And I hope one day when it's my time, I can do that for my daughter. Okay, I have to quit crying. Sorry. Oh, thank y'all. I just get emotional when I think about that. I miss her. Oh, Denise, your husband died a month ago, and what I would give to just have a moment with him. Yeah, we take it for granted. We don't know that we're not promised tomorrow. None of us are. You know, and we need to recognize that every day is precious, and every day we have with our loved ones is a treasure that we should keep in our heart. Take pictures, take lots of pictures, take video, love, give them lots of love, hugs, kisses, tell them you love them. And I'm so sorry, Denise. Your children live in Texas, and I live in Tennessee. 2 of them are in the Air Force. You know what? FaceTime, Skype, you call them. If you have to write a letter and the old-fashioned way and send it in the mail, you get in touch with them and you say everything that letter you need to say, honey. But thank you, precious. Everybody in here is wonderful, I have to say. I love you all. You're just beautiful people. And I really appreciate it. Yeah, if you could hear your dad call you precious just once. Yeah. It's hard because, you think while you're, while they're alive and while you're together, you're like, this will never end. You don't expect it. Nobody ever does. And, and then when we lose someone that we love, then it's like, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? And that's why I'm saying, Twana, your daughter hasn't talked to you since you told her you were terminal, but it's because, well, Lord, that's my dog. I touched him with my toe. I'm sorry. She may not be able to handle it, so she's hiding from it. Write her a letter. Write her email after email after email after email, and you tell her that you're not mad at her. Tell her, say, I understand. This is very important. Tell her you understand why she hasn't talked to you, that you understand that, she can't handle the hurt right now. She doesn't want to deal with it, that she just wants to escape. Because that's what we do. My daughter does that. My daughter can't stand to hear about, like, me being sick, like, this whole month. She doesn't want to hear any of it. And it's because she's like, Mom, you're my hero. You're my superwoman. You are everything to me. And the thought of you being sick, of you being hurt or you being in pain, she said, I can't handle it. I cannot. It's just too much. And I'm like, okay, so I won't talk about it. But I love you and I understand that, and I'm not mad at you. Want to tell your kids that. And I love you. And Twana, I love your messages and your emails that you send to me, honey. I love you too, Carrie. That actually, Scottish, that was Merlet that squalled, because if you even look at it, you little butthole, if you even look at him sideways, he screams like you're killing him. Twana, you stay here. You stay. Twana, you stay here, honey. This is not. I want you to stay. This has been cathartic for me. This is good. It's not a bad thing to cry and have memories. It really isn't. Twana, you please don't leave us, okay? We love you. You're very loved here. Okay, Beck. Well, you missed it. I've done bald. New dog. What's his name? Oh no, this is the old dog. This is the 17-year-old one, and his name is Merlet. Okay, I'm gonna change this up because I want to end on a happy note. Because otherwise, y'all gonna be like, man, that sucks. I feel like crap now. So we're gonna end on a happy note. I'm gonna tell you about Merlet. When I had my first Dotson, it was because, wait a minute, let me take a sip because my mouth's dried. Lord, I look like a mess. Holy shit. Carrie, I do. I'm still grieving. I think about her and I still grieve. And if I think too hard, I end up, do you see why I don't do grief counseling? But okay. End on a good note. I got my first wiener dog. My husband, we were dating, and my daughter had left for North Carolina to go to NC State, and I was devastated. I mean, she was my clone. I mean, she always said she's Beth 2.0. I mean, literally peas and carrots. And my baby was gone. She was a state away, and she was being all independent, and she was having a hard time of it too, and she was being kind of an asshole to me. And she'll tell you that herself. She was being a jerk. But that was her way of protecting herself. So my husband says, well, we'll get you a dog. What kind of dog do you want? That'll keep you company. And I said, well, we could do this. And I said, I've always wanted a wiener dog because I'd never had one before. And he said, okay. And we looked, and there was a lady that lived about an hour away, and she had puppies, and they were purebred. And so we went down, and we saw the puppies. I was like, oh, I am in love. I'll take every one of them. I was totally in love with all of them. And then I picked out Max, and he was my first wiener dog. Now this, you understand, this is like 10 years ago. Well, Max was my heart. I mean, I poured everything that I was missing and mothering my child into that dog. That dog was rotten. But I kept saying, he needs another dog to play with. I need a second one. And my husband's going, you do not need a second dog. I'm like, yes, I do. But then a friend of mine who runs a rescue got this Maltese in, and he was matted up. His owner, he was 6 years old, and his owner had cancer, or he was a little over 6, had cancer and had to give him up because they couldn't take care of him. And his nails had never been trimmed. He'd never been groomed. I mean, he was a mess. But I called her. I said, I want that dog. And she was like, he's full-blood Maltese. This is a, good dog. And I just took him, from her. And I said, okay, well, I will be there for that dog. And I called him. He was at work. We weren't living together at the time. And I said, I need you to bring this amount of money because, with her rescue, she charges so much because they have them fixed. And, that's how she keeps going. I said, I need you to bring this amount of money because I'm getting another dog. And he went, are you good? I said, I'm not arguing. I said, either I get that dog or you and I are going to have problems. I was mad. Well, he said, well, send me a picture of it. And I said, well, this is what he looked like before. And he was all fluffy and white. And then she shaved him because he mats up. And he doesn't like to be brushed. He's a little butthole. And she shaved him. And it looked like this. But his front leg, it works like this. He needs chaps. I mean, seriously. And he was shaved. He looked like a pink rat. Have you seen, those hairless cats? Oh, those things are awful looking. He looked like that, only as a dog. And I was like, oh, what has she done to this poor dog? Oh my God, I hope his hair grows back out. I was horrified. But I was like, he's still mine. I'm going to love him. Well, we got him. And my husband was like, what in the world is this thing? He was like, of all the dogs to choose, this dog is awful looking. And he wasn't very nice at the beginning either. He didn't really like any of us. He didn't like anybody because he'd never been away from his owners. He was very attached. They get very attached. The Maltese do. So it took a little while, but we kept trying to figure out what to name him. And we had a joke, a long-running joke about before we found out that I had liver issues. I love wine. I love I love studying about wines and all of that. And, we've had a wine-themed wedding and all that. But he knew nothing about wine. And we went to a restaurant one time, and I said, okay, I'm going to get this. And what would you like? And he looked at a Merlot, and he said, well, I think I'll try a glass of this Merlot here. And I said, what did you just say? And he said, I'll have a glass of this Merlot. And I said, it's not Merlot, you dummy. It's Merlot. And we got to giggling and tickled. And so when we got the dog, I said, let's call it Marlet. He said, that's the dumbest name I've ever heard for a dog. I said, I know, ain't it great? So that's how we got Marlet's name. So, and he's now 17. God love him. He's sitting over there eating his fill. He's a fat little thing. And arthritis, and he's outlasted every other rescue we've had except for Brian. Brian is hanging on. And we're a family. We love them, and it's messy and it's crazy and it's there's times when you want to pull your hair out, but it's life, and we have to live it the best we can. Isn't that right? Tawana, I love you, and I want you to write your daughter. Even if she doesn't open the emails for 10 years, write her emails, write her letters. And one of these days when she's able, she will open it up and she'll be so glad. And tell her you're not mad at her and you understand and you love her. She's everything you wanted in a daughter and you're proud of her. That's a gift that you can give her. Okay? And Tawana, you're always welcome in any of my chats. All of you are. And I know I laughed. Don't worry, I get zero respect. Because God, you're so funny. I looked at a long-haired wiener, but in fact, we had one, Winston. He was fat. He started out at 11 pounds and he ended up at 35 because my husband buys cheeseburgers for the dogs. But we loved Winston. We had him for a long time. He was beautiful. He was a beautiful dog. So we've had one long hair. But if you want a wiener, if you would like some wiener, if you need a wiener, there are Dachshund rescues in every state. And that's how we've rescued several. In fact, we got Chloe and we got Winston both through the rescue. And, and they were older. So, of course, older dogs pass away and you mourn and then you go get another rescue. There goes my your bud. But go to the rescue. And if you want another kind of dog, look up the rescue for that because there's all sorts of different breeders that, somebody will bring a dog back if they can't handle it or something's wrong. Look for the rescue. Don't shop. And everything goes. And remember, now that I'm monetized, thank you, Lord, there's super chats on here. I don't ever ask for super chats, but we have super chats on here, and then of course the monetization. So always watch the ads because any money I make on here is going to the rescue. So I'm really happy at that. Brian, you want to come here? Come here, buddy. Say, I've been dying to say hi. Oh my Lord, come here. You gonna say hi? Look at you. So don't stop. And I'm so glad you all are here. I love this silly little dog. He sleeps right beside me. Yeah, I know you love me. I think I'm loved. But I wish you all a beautiful day. You have a lovely Sunday. It's pretty outside. Oh, I'm gonna clean the house. I'm gonna go rest for a little bit and get something to eat first, but because I'm starving. I had some crackers before we started, so I haven't eaten. But you know the the rest of the day can be a beautiful day for you, even if it's not pretty outside. Uh, do something good for you. Do something to make you happy. Do something nice for you. Okay. And thank you all for coming in. Say thank you. Can you say bye? How silly is this? Say bye. Y'all gonna think I'm nuts. Like everybody says. Say she's just not all there. I love his dog. There goes there, bud. Okay. Yes, Brian steals kisses. He certainly does. And he will walk. He will get up on. My husband will be on the love seat, and I'll be on the couch because that's kind of where we always. He's there around here, and he will make my husband lift him up because he's spoiled, and he could jump up there, but he'll go make my husband pick him up, and then he will walk over my husband and usually step on his head to get over to me. And I'm like, why didn't he come over here and ask me up? Because he wants to walk over my husband. And usually he gets there. I try to give daddy kisses, but he don't like it too much. So mommy doesn't mind, but look at that. Is that spoiled? That is spoiled. Later, y'all. Love you all. I love you. You love you. You have a great day, okay? I'm going into this. Bye. What? You want something to eat?